And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Noxford. This is a small little card game from Quick Simple Fun Games, and it takes place in the city of Noxford, in the steampunk city of Noxford. And what attracted me to this game initially was the way this is a tile-laying game, except you're using cards as tiles, but the cards aren't placed all in the same like they usually are. They're kind of crisscrossed into a quilt work pattern of sorts to build a little city on the board. You are some evil syndicate or some, I guess you're a legitimate operation, whatever, and trying to have the most control over the different industries of that city. Let's take a look. In this game, you're going to be building a city. You're going to start with these two cards shaped like an L, and the city is going to be made up of districts and different syndicate cards. Each player has a deck of syndicate cards that are in their color, and these mostly, there's a lot of different artwork on them, but it really only matters. There's a number here, so for example, it's 2. There's 1s, 2s, and 3s in your deck. Some of them have a clockwork symbol on them, and then of course they're your color. Everyone also has a number 4 character, but that person is placed face up in front of you. There's also a row of neutral cards that are paired. 2 neutral cards start out in the middle of the table. So on your turn, you're going to have a handful of 3 cards in your hand. You can play a card from your hand, or you can play one of the neutral cards from the row. When you play a card, it has to touch at least 2 other cards. So this is legal, this is legal, this is not. And a corner has to touch another corner. So while this is here, that corner and that corner are touching, that's fine. I could place this one here because that corner and that corner are touching, that's fine. Even though this is touching 2 cards, there's no corner touching corner. So you're kind of building sort of a brick layout. Instead of playing one of the cards from your hand, you can also always place your main character card if you want to. When you place a card, if your card has a number that's higher than a number on the table, so this one, for example, is a 2, and this is a 1, you can place on top of that card. Now, when a card is completely surrounded by other cards, and this might take a while. Let's see if I can, let's say this happens here, and someone plays a card like this. The green card is completely surrounded now. That card is locked and can no longer move or have something put on top of it. When players play a card with the clockwise symbol on them, you can pick up any card that's not locked and is not a leader. So I could pick up this card, for example, and move it to a new spot. When you play a card from the neutral row, you'll replace it. And when someone's cards are out, when someone's played their last card, you're going to score in the middle. Now, first of all, you need to take a look at these cards. They're in a neutral thing. These are barracks. At the end of the game, if there's a barracks on the table, every card next to it is turned face down. The police are stopping those guys from having control of the city. Then you'll take a look at each card, and whoever has the most cards next to those neutral cards is going to collect those cards. So here, purple would get 3 cards. Now, that may not happen. There will probably be other cards from the blue player or the red player around each of these. And if there's a tie, no one gets it, and the leaders count for 2 cards when controlling in majorities. After that, you're just going to take your neutral cards, and you're going to get 1 point for each icon on them, except you'll look at your leader's icon. So this leader here likes booze. So those would count 2 for me. So if I was a purple player, I'd get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. Most points is the winner of the game. Okay, well, first of all, I find that this game is a fun little game. And I'm mentioning that at the beginning because it's going to sound briefly like I'm not as big of a fan of the game. The steampunk part of the game. Crime and steampunk, I mean, really, the steampunk is, I guess, for the cards, the artwork on the cards, but really it could have been there or not. And the problem is the cards just have this muddled look on the table. This had the opportunity to be this really cool little city look on the board, and it looks eh. Now, fortunately, it's really easy to tell the difference between the colors as you place them out. I wish they would have made the numbers bigger on them, the 1s, 2s, and 3s. I mean, a lot bigger. I mean, when you look at this card and how much space is on this card, and then they put a little tiny 3 there in the middle, that could have been a lot bigger, or in the corners or something. The tile laying part of the game is something that I do enjoy. I think that it works well. Touch 2 different cards, and the whole concept of placing one of your cards or placing a neutral one is a good one, and placing your leader at the right time, also good. This game is not a long game, and it does take up a decent amount of table space for the size of it, but you got to realize going into this that this is a light game. I mean, light as it floats away. And the reason for that is that those 3 barracks cards. Now, those barracks cards can be moved and stuff, and you're going to put those next to other people's things, and you're going to make their cards go away or basically shut down at the end. So people are constantly moving those barracks around to mess over other players. This is essentially an area control game where you're going to have the cards of your color trying to be around the different cards to get points, but it's really important area control to knock other people. So this has kind of a take that feel to it in area control, like a pretty strong feeling of it. And it's very possible, in fact, I'm not sure I played any game of this so far, where one player just was like devastated because of other players ganged up on that player or something that just, they happened to be in the way of multiple players in a 3 or higher player game. So like I said, the coloring is a little off, but the way you put the cards out is interesting. The game plays fast enough that I don't mind that the strategy here is fairly minimal. Even the fact that you have your own icon that you're trying to get more of, there's cards with 4 icons on them. They're more important. That's what you go after. You don't really look at your own icons. You're just trying to get the cards with a lot of icons out there. Knowing when to play your leader is an important part of this game, but this is essentially just a very light, hey, play some cards out there, mess with your opponents. You go into it with that mindset, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you look for something heavier or deeper, it's probably not there. I might have wished for a little bit more meat in this style game, but when I take a look at for what it is, I did find that I did enjoy playing the cards, kind of lean back, have a conversation. When am I going to play the neutral cards? When am I going to play the cards from my hand? When am I going to cover someone else up? I play the clockwork cards. It's fun to move someone's card to the least inconvenient spot or move mine to a great spot. Simple little game. Well, that's the name of the company, Noxford. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.